Hi, my name is Heather Dunn Swanson. I am a University of Washington Tacoma Master of Social Work candidate, Simon Family Endowment Autism MSW Fellow, NAMI on Campus Vice President, and most recently Square Pigs on Campus Organizer and Facilitator. I spent nearly 2 years of the MSW program researching autism, disclosure, and inclusion at UW Tacoma while planning to organize and launch Square Pigs on Campus, an autistic peer social support group at UW Tacoma, because I wanted my MSW capstone project to be reality, not hypothetical. I want to sincerely thank the Simon family for supporting me during the past couple years. I also want to thank Dr. Ronnie San Nicolas for encouraging me and believing in me and being the best professor and advisor for me within the MSW program, Simon Family Endowment Fellowship, and NAMI on Campus RSO. I also want to thank the research participants and key stakeholders and the most amazing and supportive and knowledgeable community mentor who I first met with in 2019, Zach Sadiq, MSW and organizer of the Square Pigs Adult Autistic Meetup Group that consists of more than 2,100 autistic members. Research findings shows that autistic students struggle with communication and social interaction and are at risk of failing and or dropping out of school. Additionally, the social construct of disability and ableism negatively affect the inclusion of autistic students. While conducting research that included interviewing UW Tacoma students and staff, I learned there are more than 29 autistic students attending UW Tacoma. Disability Resource for Students, DRS staff, reported there are 29 professionally diagnosed autistic students receiving academic accommodations based on their official autism diagnosis. And yet, not all autistic students have received an official diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder, which is required to receive accommodations based on autism. So not all autistic students are receiving supportive services at UW Tacoma. I am one of the autistic students at UW Tacoma who does not have an official diagnosis because of multiple barriers and isms, including ableism, classism, ageism, along with gender bias. This proposed project utilizes theory of mind, student development theory, and disability theory. Theory of mind is knowing what others are thinking, feeling, and experiencing, which can be difficult for many autistic students. Student development theory views students as unique individuals who need to be regarded holistically and within their total environment to foster their full potential. Disability theory views disability as socially constructed as part of human variation. Thus, it is not the disability that needs to be addressed, but rather the individual needs of each student. Autistic students need higher education institutions, including University of Washington Tacoma, to implement additional opportunities, accommodations, policy, and environmental changes and supportive spaces in order to improve the inclusion and success of autistic students. The goals of this project are to improve inclusion, sense of belonging, equity, acceptance, and to improve academic and interpersonal success of all autistic students, self-diagnosed and professionally diagnosed, throughout all University of Washington campuses and eventually all higher education institutions in the United States, beginning with UW Tacoma. By increasing the number of UW Tacoma autistic-specific social events and or peer social support groups from 0 to at least 1 per month, then autistic students will have an opportunity to improve their communication and social interactions, increase inclusion, and reduce the risk of failing and or dropping out of UW Tacoma. The intervention I propose is the organization and facilitation of Square Pigs on Campus, a peer social support group for students who are self-diagnosed and professionally diagnosed autistic on the autism spectrum, neurodiverse, neurodivergent. Square Pigs on Campus will be and is a space to meet new people and hang out with friends who are on the autism spectrum, get to know one another, have fun, and express lived experiences, thoughts, and feelings about being on the spectrum. Square Pigs on Campus is not therapy or treatment. The primary values of this peer group are inclusion, acceptance, and neurodiversity. Outcome 1 of this proposed intervention is to increase inclusion, sense of belonging, equity, and acceptance of autistic students at the University of Washington-Tacoma. And outcome 2 is to decrease the number of failing and dropout rates of autistic students at the University of Washington-Tacoma. Outcome 1 will be deemed successful if, by the end of June 2022, at least 10 autistic students are aware of UWT, autistic-specific social events and/or peer social support groups, measured by Square Pigs on Campus meetup RSVPs and/or email inquiries. And if by the end of June 2022, at least 5 autistic students attend at least 3 UWT autistic-specific social events and/or peer support groups as measured by event and/or peer social support group attendance documentation. Outcome 2 will be deemed successful if by the end of June 2022, at least 55% of UWT documented autistic students are on track to graduate from their undergraduate program. And if by the end of June 2022, the failing and dropout rates of UWT documented autistic students decreased by 5% as measured by UWT academic grading, admissions, and registration. Outcome indicators will increase each year. The benefits of this project include an improved sense of belonging, equity, and acceptance of autistic students at UWT. Decreased failing and dropout rates of autistic students is another benefit. Additionally, autistic students may improve their communication and socialization skills through this proposed intervention. There are minimal expenses to launch this proposed project, which is why I already launched Square Pigs on Campus as a monthly NAMI on Campus event, with the first peer group having occurred on December 9, 2020 via Zoom. Square Pigs on Campus autistic peer social support groups are scheduled to occur on the second Wednesday of each month, beginning at 6 p.m. until 7:30 p.m. via Zoom, because the COVID-19 social distancing restrictions and campus closure.